Yeah, so be careful what you say.
Now we can behave.
So yeah, now behave. So we've been working on our stories and everything. So what we wanted to do, I have an agenda for this week because we have a couple things. One, we want to talk about International Convention because obviously, hopefully you've all gotten the email and seen that today. We also want to talk about the emails that, actually, why don't we start with that? The emails that we've been sending out that Pip worked very crazy diligently on to work and send out. You guys should have all received 2 emails at this
Week
point.
1, week 2, and then week 3 is going to be coming out, I think, tomorrow.
So we want some feedback. We'd like some feedback. Do you feel there needs to be anything changed, added, deleted? Have you not looked at them? Do you feel like your team will look at them? Because we don't want to continue if it's a waste of time. Because obviously it's a lot of work. So we want some feedback that's honest so that, and you're not hurting our feelings. We just want some honest feedback. So hello, Tracy, and hello, Brian. You guys are both muted. You can unmute if you'd like.
I think they're very valuable because it keeps everybody on the same page and hearing the same information. And it gives you a definite target point to follow up with new people when they're going through, the first week, second week, and it's not so overwhelming. Because I think sometimes when you bring on a new person, it's like, oh, I have to show them this, I have to show them that. And then you all of a sudden email them this, and it just gets too much. So I think it's at a nice pace. I mean, I've seen these, before, and I think you made a couple changes, but I think they're invaluable. So I hope you're all looking at them, and because it doesn't hurt to go through it again. I don't care how long you've been in the business to say, oh, okay, because I guarantee you'll find something you missed.
Yeah. I agree. And I like that there's, the step-by-step and the links to, even for us, if you have a question, it's like, well, let me go back and see if that's where that is. And you can kind of get to the place you need to go if somebody has a question without having to bother somebody else.
Tracy, go ahead. Yeah, you're the new kid on the block. Yeah. So you're the one, you're actually seeing these for the first time. Obviously, a lot of people have already seen this information. So we'd love to hear from you.
I jumped in a little late. I'm not really sure what we're talking about.
Oh, we're talking about, I think she's on the list, right?
Yeah, she should have.
You should have received a week 1 email and a week 2 email that we have been creating that automatically go out every time somebody starts new, that it will be a series of emails that go out 1 per week to help guide a new person through the process. So give us your insight. What have you even been able to look at them?
I have actually. I clicked on the things that you should do as a new person, and that was helpful because there were a couple things that I hadn't done yet, like set up your credit cards and stuff like that. I haven't really gotten through all of them, but I did find that part of it very valuable.
Good.
And it's very overwhelming. There's so much information and so much, if you're not really familiar with the products, learn those, and to learn, the things you've got to do and the things, and all the information, it is kind of overwhelming.
Yeah.
But if you have, a start point and go, okay, you need to, get these things done first, and then maybe a couple things that you need to do first before you do anything else. You can kind of, as a new person, you can kind of focus on what you need to do instead of, all these things coming at you, there's a lot.
Yeah. Now, and what I'd like is if you come across something that doesn't make sense or that could be explained differently, let us know. And the videos that we have, we're borrowing them from Trinity and Cullen. And our ultimate goal is to create our own videos with our own team so that it's ours, but they already had it started. So we had to start somewhere. And so they gave us permission to go ahead and kind of use their videos. We took their letters, we've reworked them to how we're comfortable saying them. But ultimately, the goal is that it will be our entire process, but we just had to start somewhere.
Right. Well, and for instance, the GoDaddy account, the GoDaddy thing, when I purchased my GoDaddy name and all that, when I pulled it up, it didn't pull up my thing. And there's a, and I had to have Pip show me, there's a little thing you have to go through in order for it to come
Link it.
up. And I had no clue. And so I asked Lori, and Lori goes, ask Pip.
Yeah, and Beth and I actually talked about me doing a video specifically going through the GoDaddy process, and we will. I mean, it's just not been something that's been at the top of the list, but
Right.
ultimately we would like to do that because then we can just say, yeah, we have a video on that. Go watch the video.
I mean, it wasn't that difficult, but it was just still, there were a few steps that you had to go through to get there.
Yeah.
So,
And I will just say that, Tracy, pretty much everybody goes through that. There's very few people that have already learned how to connect a domain name. So don't feel like that was something that you had to learn. Pretty much everybody goes through that. So that's good feedback. So I'm going to reach out to Lynn and Walter because you're the other newbies on the block here. Does everybody know everybody on here? No.
Lynn, you're muted.
Who? Oh, Linda
Linda
and Walter.
And it looks like they're frozen.
Yeah.
Is anybody else getting a lot of feedback too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm getting feedback
Yes.
from somebody, but I don't know who. It sounds like a machine is running in the background.
oh,
Yeah.
that might be me. I'm washing clothes.
It didn't sound like a washer or dryer.
No, I'm hearing it too through here. So I don't know if it's mine, but
Sound like a printer or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like Lynn, it looks like you're back now.
Linda's unmuted now.
Yep.
I'm back. Hi, guys.
Hey,
I'm
So-
trying to eat my dinner, and I'll be on screen. So you'll see me disappear, and then I'll come back.
No problem.
so
But as soon as you put food in your mouth, we'll ask you a question,
Of course you will.
just like the waiter.
before you put that next bite in there, we're asking everyone what the feedback is on the emails, the weekly emails that we put together and we've started sending out. So as a newbie, have you had a chance to even look at week number 1 and week number 2 that have come out already? And if so, do you have any feedback in terms of whether it's been helpful, whether it's been frustrating, whether you feel there's anything we need to add, delete, whatever, just anything?
To be honest with you, I've been so busy the last 2 weeks, I really have not had a chance.
Okay. Okay, I appreciate your honesty. Not that you wouldn't be honest with us.
Of course I do.
I know you would. And Walter, we see your shoulder. I know you're there.
He's eating too. What?
We can turn it to him.
Oh, there you are.
Hello.
Hello. So, very good. Anybody else have some feedback that we could roll with so we know what to change or add, delete, anything?
I haven't looked at them closely enough to give in-depth on it, but I liked the fact that they were coming through and that it was like, bite-sized pieces, but also a systematic thing to keep people engaged, like, especially a new person who is like maybe thinking, what have I got myself into, and wants to like leave the box in the closet or whatever, getting that email again is like just a kind of a reminder. So I like that it's a systematic thing to help keep them engaged.
Yeah. And it's also a weekly connecting point so that, if someone kind of gets to the point where they're not engaging themselves, there's still that weekly engagement and that connection.
So we'd like if, I mean, I know you guys are busy, but if you guys all can actually look over them if you haven't and read them, because again, our goal is that anytime somebody brings somebody new on board, you will get them connected so these emails go out, because it's not coming just from us, it's coming from the team. And we want everybody to be able to have that information. Now, the only difference would be obviously like Charlotte just sponsored a doctor in Nutrimetrics. So we're not going to send him and connect him to all these emails, because that's a whole different game. So yeah, anybody else has Harry or Brian or Stacia, any feedback?
I read through and looked at everything on the first week one, and I really liked it. On the second week, I read the email, but I haven't had time to really do anything else this
Okay.
week.
Okay.
Well, we appreciate the feedback. And again, I think tomorrow another one will go out. So if there's something that, typos, things that don't link properly, things that don't make sense, just let me know, because we can change them. And this is, again, it's a work in progress. It took me several weeks to even hook it up to actually go out on its own. I kept thinking I had it, and then it wouldn't work.
And it took me a few bliss to deal with them.
I was watching the YouTube videos on the first one, and my youngest came in. He's like, "Whoa, that's old."
Yeah, we'll redo the videos.
Question, did Jamie get connected to those?
Do
you know if Jamie's receiving those, Stacia?
I don't know if she's receiving those emails. I keep forwarding her all the text messages and everything, and reminding her about the calls.
Okay, find out if she's receiving, because I'm not sure if she got connected to those.
Yeah.
So here's the thing, you guys, when you bring somebody new on board, make sure that they get connected. They have to basically give us their email, and then Pip has to email through the system. They have to agree to be added for them to start getting week one.
That's right. Because of spamming. They don't want us adding email addresses. And if a significant number of people say no, so if I invite people and they say no, then kind of get dinged for spamming.
Oh, that's not good.
No, so we only want to invite people who are actually going to say yes, that they want the information. And Pip has 5 already done. We have 12 total in the works. So it would basically be over a 90-day period that they'd be receiving 12 separate emails. So you got to get on those.
Yeah, I got to get on the horse.
Yes, I have to admit to you that I did read week 2, because I did that Saturday during the seminar. That's why I sent you that I was working on my why.
Good.
Very good.
So I did see it. I just didn't realize it was like one of week 1 or week 2.
Gotcha. That's okay.
Yep.
The thing is, kind of like Tracy said, it seems overwhelming because it's all coming, but the thing is, it's all these little pieces. And if you know why, and you come up with your story and you whittle your story down to a little conversational piece to have a bigger conversation, and then you have your approaches, which is the next thing we have to go into, is that you now have the conversation with somebody. You've shared a little bit of your story, and now what's the next thing they're going to do? They're going to ask you, well, how'd you do that? Or what is it? Or what do you do? Or what are you involved in? We're going to have to be ready to answer that question. So that's the next step, that you need to go start working on your, what is it? What do you do? What are you involved in? Answer. So, Brian, I don't want to put you on the spot, but have you had a chance to look at the emails yet or not? You're on mute, buddy.
All right, that better?
Yeah, that's much better.
Okay, I did go in and look at the week 1 also, but I have not. I just opened the week 2 one here.
Okay.
So no, I have not.
Okay.
Okay, no problem. And again, the whole idea is, you guys, that you're going to work on it. Everyone's going to work on it in their own pace. So like there's going to be people that are very, very organized, and they get week 1 and they do it. Week 2, they do it. There's going to be people that, like when Colin first sent them to me, because I had requested to see his, and so he sent them to me, And like at week 7, I was like, oh man, I got to get on this and start reading week 1. Because again, I wasn't looking for the information as much as I was looking for what they were putting out. And all of a sudden I realized, man, he was serious. Like they're coming every week. So yeah, I just want to encourage you that don't get too far behind or it gets overwhelming. But obviously everyone's going to do it at their own pace, and that's the whole point. So Harry, we haven't picked on you yet.
Yeah, no, I got week 1 and I looked at it. I won't say in depth, but I thought it was very interesting, and so I need to look at that one again, and then I'm ready for week 2. So I don't know. I was actually going to send you a note back saying I'm ready for week 2.
Very good. Well, week 2 you already have. I think you already have week 2, right?
I don't remember it. I don't remember seeing it, but
You know what?
Well, if he was added later,
Yeah.
he could be on a different schedule.
I'm late. I was later. Yeah, it just came. Week 1 just came early last week, I think. So,
Okay, so you'll get week 2 tomorrow. So this is a good example, actually. So Harry just registered for it, so he's going to get week 2 this week, but you guys are all, I think all of you are on week 3.
And that's the way it should work. So if we added a new business partner tomorrow, they'll get the week 1, and then everyone's going to be on their own schedule.
right.
But because we had a group ad of so many people who were already in the list, they all started one together.
Okay.
Okay, so my next question is MA International Convention. Does anybody, and this is really just, does anybody have any questions regarding the email that went out today?
Well, when is it? Do you have a date?
September 10th, 11th, 12th. And it's online.
Okay.
You should have gotten an email today that went out with all of the details.
I also sent a text message pointing everybody to it too.
Okay, good. Does anybody have any questions related to it?
So they're refunding, what, $60? So the fee of it will be $140?
No, they're refunding $65 to those who had gala tickets. You didn't have a gala ticket, Tracy. You have a regular ticket. So
Okay.
what they're doing is for anybody who had a regular ticket, they're actually sending us $100 worth of product to replace the extra 100 we spent. So I'm assuming, they have not announced yet, but I'm assuming that the tickets for online will be costing $100. That's my guess. Now, because did you buy your ticket directly from the company or did you buy it from Lori?
I bought it from Delin.
From Delin. So actually they're going to send the kit to whoever purchased the ticket from corporate. So then
Okay.
it'll be up to Delin to give you your product. So go knock on her door.
Go
I'm
get
gonna
that product.
have to talk to that girl.
You
Yeah.
got to talk to that girl. Absolutely. Tell her we sent you.
All right.
Now, Denise, I assume our local seminar will be rescheduled
Yes.
because it's that same weekend?
I haven't heard from Jocelyn yet on that. So I know they had, she had a conference call with Colin this morning, but I haven't heard the updates on what they're gonna do.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we hope to hear too, because we actually we were supposed to be one of the speakers. So we're not sure what's happening either. We didn't even know it was rescheduled because we thought ours was September 26th or 27th for Asheville. And so anyway, so if you hear anything, Denise, if you can let us know, because we have heard nothing.
I will. Yeah, I was hoping to hear from her today, but I didn't.
Like on Saturday's seminar, we got to save the date and we were like, oh, like our local changed.
Is
And
that
then-
us?
And then today we got the email from corporate and we went, I don't think there's going to be a local on that Saturday. So
We're all in the same boat.
it's been a little confusing.
Do you want to go over, Beth, about if people not going online and just buying tickets, but going through the team first to help people who bought like 6 tickets?
Yeah, why don't you go through it?
Okay. If you didn't buy a ticket to International for August, some of us did buy and have extra tickets. So you can buy, instead of going online onto the back office and purchasing a ticket, you can contact whoever brought you in the business or Beth and Pip and buy their ticket and for the same price, and then they won't have to eat, all their tickets. So just don't go on and order it online. Check with your, the person who brought you in, Ann or Beth and Pip.
And if you're really nice, they might give you their $100 worth of product.
Yeah. True.
Well, so here's an example. Stacia, you bought a ticket. We bought the tickets from corporate. Stacia bought a ticket from us. So Stacia, when that product comes to us, we're going to ship it to you.
Are you going to send the ticket to, I'm just trying to think, for taxes, or do I just use the thing from Venmo or PayPal?
I can actually just put the ticket with the product when we get it and just ship the whole thing to you.
Because I know at the conference they said to keep that for my tax receipt.
Right.
Yeah, the only reason we didn't ship the ticket, just so you know, we don't ship tickets in the mail by themselves because the post office will not insure tickets. They do not insure tickets. So so you either have to lie or you can't insure it. So
We used to say we were sending baseball cards that are collectibles because they insure baseball cards. So we would send the ticket in an envelope, but say it was baseball cards valued at $200. True.
So why'd you tell them our lie? That's not recording.
That's all right. I said we used to do that. We're now reformed.
Sometimes you got to work around the system.
That's right.
Oh, this coming from Tracy. Watch out. That tells me you've worked around a few systems, girly.
Well, maybe a couple.
So with that being said, Stacia, what I can do is I feel very comfortable putting your ticket in with the product when we send it because I can put a value on that package and insure the package.
I mean, worst case, I'm sure I can print out the receipt for when I send you guys the money.
Yeah, I'm sure
Yeah, you might actually need the ticket number and the serial number on the back though to access the event. That might be your entry. So you're probably going to need the ticket or at least a photo of it.
Take a picture of it before you send it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's the thing that we think is so cool about this is the fact that it's going to be online. But what if you guys, like Paul and Denise and Brian, you guys live next door to one another. You could actually get in a living room and actually watch it together and interact. We're thinking of getting a small group together here in Florida and being able to get together so we can actually interact and we're going to have it catered. We have food available and we don't have to be trying to all fix food and all that and just kind of make it a fun event. And that way you can interact. And then we can obviously have a Zoom follow-up because we normally have our meeting after the meeting at our dinners and we're not going to have that. But we can have a Zoom follow-up then that Monday.
How many extra rooms do you have?
We have two extra rooms in our new house, which by then we should be in.
Oh, good.
So I would think that we can definitely sleep 4, but we were thinking that Laura and Amanda might come up and maybe you and Delyn and Lori and Connie.
That might be fun.
But
yeah,
obviously by then we all hope we'll have other guests, which mean we might have to find some hotel rooms.
Okay.
So we just have to figure it out.
Charlotte, sounds like a good weekend for you to come to Myrtle Beach.
True, that could be a road trip.
Myrtle Beach. That sounds nice.
Ditching us.
Yeah, I might come over to your place.
Only an 8-hour drive from here.
Not too bad.
My house sounds nice.
We all have goals. We all have goals. So with that being said, We want to hear from you guys. What have you implemented in terms of your story? Has anybody like gone out and shared their story or created a conversation with anybody? Has it gone bad? Has it gone good? Has anybody done nothing? What has anybody done? Talk to us.
I talked to the breeder about the pet products.
Tell us how it came up.
We got a pet from her. We got our pug from her, so I was messaging back and forth with her while we were setting it up, and I sent her the link to the shampoo first of all, and then because pugs have really sensitive skin, and so I sent her the link to that, and then I told her I had already ordered the OPC stuff for the supplements for Dooney and for Piper, that I was starting them on it, and I was going to be starting Piper on it as soon as we got her and stuff. So she said she was going to look at it.
Has anybody really had any luck with the pet products? I mean, have used them or?
Yes.
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 If you know anything about bulldogs, my one partner, Lynn, had her bulldog. They have notorious skin problems, all kinds of issues. And when she started giving me the OPC3 and the supplement for the dogs, their vet was like, "What are you doing? Your bulldog has like the nicest skin, all its skin condition like cleared up." Yeah.
That's why that's one of the reasons I'm starting Piper on it right away, because I read that pugs, like, they get yeast infections so easily in their folds of their skin and everything, and there's so many skin problems if you don't bathe them every single day. And I'm like, I'm not going to bathe her every day. So, but this, I think this can help keep a lot of that under control. So a weekly bath would be okay.
Oh, that's good to know. Cause I mean, a lot of people, really, their pets are their babies, so especially where I live, there's a lot of older people and everybody has pets.
Yep.
So
everybody in our subdivision has 2 dogs and 2 shotguns.
My kind of place.
That's right.
So Tracy, as well as everybody else, here's something important to know, that first of all, there's a whole line of pet health. And Tracy, you are so right. People take better care of their pets than they do themselves. So it's sometimes a really good lead-in product. We've had people that have actually bought pet health from us, and then we've gone back and said, you know how well that worked for your pet? Well, we have a human form of that.
Right.
And that's how we've sold OPC and then the Daily Essentials. So sometimes it's easier to get into someone's world through their pet, just like it is easier to get into their world through their kids. People will buy anything for their pets and their kids, sometimes before themselves. So I will say that pet health can be a very good, easy lead-in, because kids play together, dogs play together, and that creates conversation then between the owners or the parents. And that it can naturally come up so much easier sometimes than approaching another human about their health.
And if you can get an AKC show breeder, it's golden, because they have multiple dogs.
That's right. Well, and vets. We actually had a vet in our business. Sadly, they got divorced, and it was an ugly divorce. But we had a vet in our business years ago, and she sold that product to almost every one of her clients, because she was able to show one client after another from allergies. I actually, for a number of years when the kids went to horse camp, I actually had a client who bought OPC for their horse because the horse had allergies. Now, it was a large amount of dosaging for a horse and it was very expensive, but I came to find out she didn't care, because they spend a lot of money on their vet bills.
They do.
What was that?
I said they do. They have massage therapists for their horses and that travel with them, and
Yep.
yeah.
Yep. So it's just a matter of getting into the right person looking for it. But I would tell you, look at the reviews on the products for the pet health, because there are stories that abound in terms of what it's done. We've watched it for our own grand dog. I mean, he has severe allergies, and he's got like, I don't even know what you call it around his rectal area. It's
some kind of
like
Gland.
like a glandular issue.
Oh,
And
TMI.
and it has really, really helped him. And so he's not constantly like clawing at himself. And so the itch has gone away, I guess. So I guess just like it would work for hemorrhoids in a human, it probably works for the glands in a dog. And then the paw product has worked significantly well. I've seen dogs that had paws that were actually cracking. No different than humans that get fingers or feet that are cracking. If you apply like the DNA ointment cream, well, for pets, it's the paw balm.
yeah.
It's not easy to say.
No,
So I would say, again, it's easier to have that conversation about a pet or a child or a grandchild than it is necessarily about adult to adult. So it's a good inroad. So
I
good.
had 2 this week. I actually gave some pure collagen to my hair salon lady. She had looked at the business like a year ago and it just never went anywhere. So I was going to go see her and I hadn't seen her since March, and I took her a sample of pure collagen to try. Just figured what the heck. And then today I ended up approaching somebody from college, and she sells like a nail type product. I forget what it's called. Like it's like nail polish stickers, but you put them on.
Oh yeah.
I forget what it was. She had just started that. I said, she's like, I'll send you a sample to see if you can, since I'm chemically sensitive, I wanted to see if I could use it. I said, well, what can I send you? So I told her about, my business, and turned out I'm going to send her some Turn Down because she's having trouble sleeping. And since we don't really do anything with nails, I said, I'll refer people to you, but can we, share each other's business on a Zoom and then, know a little bit about it. And she's like, oh, okay, so we'll see.
But you're doing those reach outs. So did you end up sharing your story in anything, or?
I did for her about how I asked her how she found, the nail business thing. And then I told her how I found, this company. And then she's like, oh, okay.
So Charlotte, just if you can walk through, because this is an approach and this is where people have challenges. So can you walk through, like, how did you approach her? Did you call her about the business? Did you call her and reconnect with her? How did you approach her?
I instant messaged her on Facebook because she's been advertising the nail thing. And I said, Angie, I'm interested in learning a little bit about this. I can't seem to figure it out. Can we talk so I can find out what you're doing? And so she texted me her phone, gave me her phone number. I called her. We talked for like an hour, reconnected. We'd gone to college together. We lived at the beach together one summer. But we don't really keep in touch other than Facebook. And so she just told me a little bit about how it works. I was like, okay, I think I could try this. She goes, I can send you samples. And I said, well, let me, tell you what I'm doing about what, maybe I can send you a sample of something, to offset the cost. She's like, oh, what are you doing? And so I told her how, she knew I'd gotten sick and then how that all progressed into starting this business. And then I said, well, are you having any challenges with anything? And then she finally came out that she is having sleep issues. She just had a second grandchild, and her daughter has a 2-year-old and a newborn and isn't married. And I think they're all living in the house. So I was like, well, maybe Turn Down would be the answer for her so she could sleep. Just stress. And so I just sent her a packet of Turn Down and some information on it. And then I said, well, maybe we could, connect and you could practice your business presentation on me and I'll let you know what I'm doing. I'll do mine. And she's like, okay. So.
But see, that's a good way. So the reason I wanted her to share that, because look at all the pieces to that. Notice she said that the other girl reached out to her first, or you reached out and said, what are you doing with your new business?
I did.
Okay.
I reached out to her.
And then they got on the phone and you didn't talk about business as much as you just kind of reconnected. So we always talk about rebuild the relationship.
Yeah.
And then from there, it became, you show me yours, I'll show you mine kind of deal. And not everybody's going to have a business. But here's the thing, we have a similar story. I actually joined a new platform a while ago called Alignable. And I'm connected to people in Jacksonville, but people can message each other and it's all businesses. So I get a message a couple weeks ago from a business in Tampa that says, it was basically an advertisement. This is what we are doing. This is our new product line. This is our product line. And we do heavy metal testing and we do nutritional testing and da, 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 da. You know, we would love to send you a sample of what we do as a health professional. So they reached out to me as a health professional. So I thought, wow, I'm going to reach back out to them. So I reached back out, ended up saying, could we set up a Zoom? I'd like to discuss with you and collaborate how we might be able to help each other. And so we got on a Zoom, we collaborated over it. And basically they said they would send us the sample of their testing kit. We would send them samples of what we have and we'll evaluate them and come back together. So I didn't have a relationship with this person. They reached out to me. So we didn't have to, we basically on the Zoom created that relationship. And then I just got an email the other day from his assistant that said, we've received your products. They look very interesting. We're all looking forward to trying them. And did you receive our packet? We want to encourage you to make sure that you send in your testing packet so you can get the results back and see how we work. So that's the next step. We need to do that so that we can then have a regroup and collaboration with them. I don't know if it will go anywhere. I don't think they're looking for an additional sector to their business based on what he told us, but they know people and they are looking for health professional connections. So if we're going to offer them connections, I'm going to expect some referrals in return. So hopefully we can collaborate on that.
That'll be nice.
Yeah, so it's just as simple as that. It's not like any rocket science. It's really just having authentic conversations with people that are very lighthearted but guide them in a direction of business.
Offering samples like the trials I was marketing was huge too, because a couple people said, you know, one of my other college friends, I said, if I sent you, you know, if I sent you some vitamins, would you be willing to try them? She's like, absolutely. So I've been trying to meet up with her. She's all about 45 minutes from me and we just never can seem to meet up. So I'm going to send her the Daily Essentials. And she was the first entrepreneur I had ever met. She started a business while we were still in college. She had a brick and mortar store at Penn State. While she was a senior in college, she developed her first business.
Nice.
So, I mean, I didn't even know what an entrepreneur was back then. But so I've always wanted to show it to her because I think she'd be great. But you never know. I mean, but it's another part of, it's in Maryland and it's up where I'm building with that part of that other team. So, you know, it would really work well. So I'm trying to get her information so I can send her the vitamins.
So those were keywords that she just used that we teach that are, if I, would you? If I were to send you, if I were to share with you, if I were to ask you something, would you, whatever action. So if I were to, you know, ask you to evaluate my business for possible referrals, would you be willing to take the time, 30 minutes, to look at it with me? If I were to send you some samples of some of the product lines that have changed my life that I'm trying to see if I can help other people, would you be willing to taste test them and try them out for me? If I, would you? So very key question. So how about anybody else have any experiences this past week?
I have not, but I have made some goals that you know, we have talked about, you wanted me to get together with you about, you know, going over some names and stuff, but I'm going to ask you to give me a week because I have made a goal that every day I'm going to spend some time on learning more about the products to where I feel more comfortable, you know, talking about them. I mean, the ones that I'm taking, you know, I do, but it's more of a comfort zone for me. So give me a week, Beth, and I will get with you and we can go over some names and maybe start the ball rolling a little bit more faster.
You know, one of the things that helped me with the products, because some of the products I couldn't take, Beth, in the BV411, the one document has like the product descriptions for a whole bunch of different isotonics, because some of them I knew nothing about and I didn't know what they were for. So I don't know if it's completely up to date or not, but what's it called, product information or
Bullet
product
point list, isn't it?
bullet point list or something
Bullet
like
point
that.
list or product bullet points, yeah.
So
Yeah,
Maria,
that was
Maria,
extreme.
tell her where it is.
It's,
Before 11 or
BV411 in the resources or documents.
it's under
I don't know
resources
what the title is.
documents. Yeah,
Okay.
that's extremely, I just printed it out because when people ask me, like some of the products I don't use and I can't use, but I didn't know enough about them. So
Yeah, I have that in a notebook for quick reference.
Oh, that's a good idea. But
Yeah.
yeah, I just really feel like, you know, knowledge, I need more knowledge before I feel a little bit more comfortable. And, you know, that's partly my own fault that I haven't taken the time to do that. But I have like written down that goal and I am going to start, you know, I'm going to go through those emails too from you, Pip, make sure I didn't miss anything and really kind of apply myself to where I can feel more comfortable, to where when we do start talking about reaching out to people, I'll feel more comfortable.
Good for you.
Beautiful.
That would be a great list for you then, because it gives you the high points of each product.
Okay,
So,
great to know. Thank you.
I mean, you can go way into depth with every product, but
Mhm.
that will give you the highlights of every single one of them.
There's a lot of rabbit holes you can go down because there's a lot of information.
So
Yeah.
I've heard.
But here's the thing, Tracy, first of all, this is exactly what we're always teaching. So as you guys like get your new partners, keep in mind, you're always teaching the new person to, like, I can't impart all this information to Tracy. She has to go find it. That's why the resource is there. So when she goes to bb411.com, that was put together for that purpose, for all of us to go grab these documents. And everybody works in a different way. So Maria probably has them all lined up perfectly in a nice little notebook. So do I. My notebook is probably on the shelf collecting dust. We all work differently. But here's the thing, Tracy, you're taking it upon yourself to learn that. And that is what we say, teach a man to fish, they'll eat for a lifetime. If I go fish for you, you will not ever learn how to have those conversations. So I love that you're taking that responsibility to go do those things. That's why this is so important of a process, because when you go there, keep in mind, you don't have to know everything about the products. I try so hard not to, because if I don't have to go look something up, even if I know the answer, I will on Zoom go, oh, let's go look this up, because I want them to go learn how to fish, so they don't think that I'm just going to answer their questions for them all day long.
Right.
Because I could tell you, I probably get 50 text messages a day, and this is not a lie, of questions of what should I tell this person to take? And I that literally could eat up my entire day.
I just been there, I think, we've been just through that.
So you're doing exactly the right thing. So bb411.com, on the right-hand side, I believe it's tools. And then under tools is documents. And I believe it's listed under documents.
Okay.
And it's
And
like,
you know, we were talking about,
product bullet points or something like that.
okay. But you know how we were talking about getting comfortable with talking to people, or, you know, especially after I watched the last thing on Saturday. A lot of great information. And when I do get a little more comfortable, I can't remember if it was Larry or Ton was talking about using social media. And, you know, I would love to know how he does that. Not right now, but when I get a little more comfortable with things. But I kind of think back of my beginning days as a flight attendant, how nervous I was getting up and making those announcements in front of everybody. And it took a little while for me to get comfortable, but I got there. And so I kind of thought about that and saying, okay, this is kind of the same thing.
That's right.
So
It's what we always talk about. None of us came here as an unfranchised owner. None of us have been an unfranchised owner before. We all have to learn it, just like, and I'll use Walter as an example. Walter you're a tennis pro, right? Is that correct? Yes. So he's a tennis pro. Did you start out as a tennis pro day one, or did somebody have to teach you how to play tennis?
No, I taught myself how to play tennis.
Oh,
Okay, so he taught himself, but the thing is, you still had to learn the process. You had to learn how to do it.
Correct.
It's no different. We come here as unfranchised owners, and I think we all just think it's going to fall, you know, Chicken Little kind of deal, that it's going to fall out of the sky and we're going to like just talk to somebody, and the first person we talk to is going to say yes, and we're going to be activated magically and making money. But we all have to go through the process of learning how to have those conversations that are attracting people into our world. And it's always a tweak, because even though I have my story, this whole COVID-19 made me have to change my story. So there's always going to be little things that you're navigating as you go along. And that's why we say you never want to stop going to events, because even though we were teaching Saturday, we still learned so much from Ton and Larry as we were planning it and all going through our slides and integrating them together. Because keep in mind, each of us are used to training for 5.5 hours. We're not used to training with other people. So we had to integrate all of our trainings together. And we all were like we laughed so hard on these calls, but we were on these Zoom sessions for like 6 weeks planning this. And we would go, oh, no, you can't cover that because that's my material. Like, it was like we all had ownership of certain pieces. And so, yeah, so I just want to encourage you, don't ever stop, because we learned stuff from them, and you will take a nugget away at every level of your business. So right now you're going like Brian and Harry and Lynn and Walter and Tracy, you're all like brand new. And then you go, and Stacia's been to a couple of things, and Maria, you've been to a number of things now. So you get to a point that you're at a different level of embracing the knowledge. You're going to even hear different things. I always think it's so funny that when we come out of an event, and I'm going to close with this tonight, is for those of you who were on events, because I know not everyone was on our event, there were other events this weekend. What was your biggest takeaway? Because everybody takes away different things. I would get together with people and go, oh my gosh, I love when the speaker did this. And the person look at me and go, I didn't hear that. And I was like, what do you mean you didn't hear that? Like, you were sitting right next to me. But we all hear different things. You can't possibly take 100% of the information away from any individual setting. You're only going to grab what you're designed to hear at that moment in time. So that's why we have to repeat, or as you say,
wash, rinse, repeat.
Can I say something about what Larry said, that I believe it was Larry, real quick. He said that when he started out, his sponsor quit.
Mm-hmm.
And then somebody else quit below him, and if he hadn't persevered, he would not be where he was today.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like, your sponsor quit, really? And to me, that was just like, wow, that was it just shows you that, I mean, just because you sponsor somebody or somebody sponsors you doesn't mean that they're in for the long haul as well.
Right.
That's right.
So,
and it's not about them, it's about yourself.
yeah.
And it's up to each of us, because I could tell you over 50%, I believe, of the people in the company who are of higher pin levels, professional coordinator and above, over 50%, their sponsor did not stick with the business.
And just think about all that money lost.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. So
What I think about when you hear that information is the teamwork, because someone else stepped in and, picked up the slack or mentored those people. So, I think that's very comforting and important as well.
Very true.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go around here.
Linda's trying to say something.
Go ahead.
I was just going to let you know that I'm going walking with a girlfriend tonight, and we were walking last week, and she was sneezing, and then she was saying that her stomach hurt because she had eaten pizza. And I'm like, you know what? I'm like, I have a couple products. Would you be willing if I gave you some samples to try them? And she's like, sure. I'm like, and then you can just let me know how it is. And then she was telling me your son's in Amway. And I'm like, well, maybe down the line you'd be willing to take a look at my business. Like, give me a half an hour and we could sit down and I could just show you some things. And she's like, sure. So I'm working on her.
Good.
Very good.
Beautiful, beautiful. So just remember, Lynn, that you're not going to sit down and do that 30-minute overview alone. You're going to make
Call
sure that you
me.
have somebody else there with you. Even if you're the one showing it, you're still going to have somebody there with you.
Basically, I figured if I can get her to do it, I'd have her at the house and we could do a Zoom. She could come over and we could do a Zoom, and you guys could help me through it.
Yep.
So far, it's like I got my first, sure, I wouldn't, I would help you out. I would take care of it. Yes.
Hey.
Yes.
Yay.
Yeah.
There's different belief levels in the business.
Stuff, and then she was complaining about her stomach hurting. I'm like, I've got a couple products. I got some samples. I'd love you to try them. She's like, sure.
Sure.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Very casual, and I just dropped it. I didn't say anything after that.
Yay. It's hard to do.
Good job.
Good job.
Good job.
Very good. You look awesome, by the way. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at your arms and
Me?
you're looking good.
Oh, yeah. Skinny, you mean?
Well, you look good. You show up on camera well.
I just put my hair up because I'm going for a walk, so.
There you go. So let's just quickly go around. If you attended something this weekend, just one quick takeaway before we leave for tonight. So I'm just going to go in order of what's on my screen. Charlotte.
We had the Maryland, Virginia, DC local with Olivia Lee, who was phenomenal. What I got from her were two things. Her big thing was, if you have no goal, you have no go. And the other thing was let me find it. You lead people, you manage yourself.
Yeah.
She said.
No, she was great, by the way. Young
Yeah.
and energetic and very motivating.
I really like her.
Yeah.
So Charlotte, I'm just going to piggyback on what you just said in terms of those are the kind of little statements. When I say put things up where you see them all day long, whether it's on your phone screen or on your desk or on your computer or a sticky note or a bookmark, something that you're going to see every day, those little statements that trigger you to jump you towards action. So, what was her thing about the goal and go?
No goal, no go.
No goal, no go. That would be a great one to just write somewhere, and it's going to trigger you to remember that moment in time to take action.
And if you have a team, leading people and managing yourself.
Yep.
Yeah, you're right, because everybody wants to manage people like they're their employees,
That's
but
right.
they're not.
That's right.
So, very good. Laura, did you attend anything this weekend?
Yes, the tri-local. And what I got out of that was especially the panels, when you all got together and then just bounced things off each other. I mean, you necessarily didn't all agree with the exact same answer, but added your individual twist and or added on to what you all said. And I liked hearing that in a very informal setting, not just the one person up there, speaking, which was much easier, I think, to take in on the Zoom actually, because you can see everything, all the writing on the slides rather than in a big room. But I liked the panel discussion. It was real, it was authentic. A lot of the same statements that Charlotte said was the same thing about goals. The initial segment on goals was, you can never hear that enough. And but like I said, the panel part, that was very different from any other locals really that I've been to in person. And it was, just the four squares of the Brady Bunch. But it was just really, it flowed. It was just very informative. It just reiterated everything that we've been discussing on the team calls, but just a little bit different face, a little bit different personality, a lot of agreement, a lot of expanding on, and it was just really fun to see the four segments and everyone's personalities.
So do you have one takeaway that you could just share with everybody?
That to be your own authentic self, because you don't have to do everything say everything like everybody else does. You just have to be comfortable in your own skin and just be you, know your goals and just be you. And that's what I think that's what I grasped from the panel, because there's no one right or wrong way to say or do any of it. It's all the same concept, but it's you, because in the end, people, it's not it might be the product, but it's not the business or whatever. It's you who you're attracted to, the relationship,
Right.
and then it just flows from there. So
Okay.
does that make sense? I mean, that's what I got out of that whole thing.
Awesome. Maria.
I'm going to piggyback off of a couple things that have already been said. I agree. The panel for the Tri-Local was phenomenal. It was probably my favorite part of the whole thing. For the same reason that Laura said, you got to hear how people are their own authentic selves, how they react to the same situation in their own way.
Mhm.
And you all said the same thing without saying the same thing, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
As far as what you said to Charlotte about the notes, my note that I wrote after that local, that is now on a sticky on my bathroom mirror, is build relationships with intent. And the other thing I really enjoyed was the objection part of it. And the statement is the statement that was said, don't come up with conflict, come up with a question. And when you ask that question,
Yep, tilt your head.
just, I mean, they're little things, but for some reason I found them to be very impactful this time when I heard them.
So you're a prime example of what I just said, is that every time you attend, you're going to pick up something different. And even though you might have heard it before, it might have a different impact to you this time around.
Yeah.
So awesome.
The bell went off.
Yay. Stacia, were you in anything this weekend?
I wasn't able to watch anything. I was working late, but I was reading, when I was supposed to be sleeping, I was reading some of the Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. And there's a line in there that I liked a lot that says, my inner world creates my outer world.
Big time.
What you think about, you bring about. What you focus on grows.
Hey, I think that was in our presentation.
However,
It was.
I daydream about sleeping a lot, but it doesn't happen.
I'm with you there.
Get some of that turned down.
Turn down, turn down.
Well, that's not my problem.
Paul and Denise, were you at a local?
We were on the Tri-Local. I've been trying to pick out a good takeaway. I've been trying to pick out one. That's what I mean.
No, I was going to say you didn't take anything away.
I was trying to pick one out of all of my notes. I think probably one that jumps out at me the most was Tyne said, talking about, approaches and trying to expand your business, was don't focus on the what and the how, focus on the conversation and what they need and how you can help them. And then one other thing I'll mention that was more personal to me was actually none of you, it was Tanya Hovelman. When she was talking about what her goals were, and she said, all the stuff wasn't really important, that what she realized that she wanted was to matter. And so sometimes that goal is not the house or the car or the boat or the whatever, it's what's inside.
Yep.
And I would say, Denise, that in my 24 years, that has been more important to most people than any material thing. Most of us, when you really get down to it, started this business because we wanted to know that we mattered and did something to help somebody else rather than just a job.
Right.
So Paul, were you, I'm not sure if you were there. Were you there this Saturday?
Yeah, I was there. We were dealing with a power outage, so I was in and out, so I don't know exactly what speaker said what because we were watching it on our phone.
That's all right. Did you have any takeaways?
Yeah, someone, I needed to verify this. Somebody said that JR was reserved. I had to hear that twice. If he's off the stage, he's reserved. He's more or less a recluse.
Yeah.
Once he gets on stage.
He's actually awkward.
He's a total recluse.
Okay. And then someone else said, I don't know if it's Don or not, said that you must value your time for someone else to value it.
Say that again.
You must value your own time for someone else to value it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so here's the thing. Let's go back to JR. JR is very awkward. JR is definitely a recluse, definitely an introvert, but yet look at what he has built and developed. It doesn't matter the characteristic of the person. Like a lot of people will say, well, I'm not outgoing enough. Sometimes the outgoing ones speak too much. And those who aren't as outgoing, listen. JR is very, very good at listening and so patient at listening and has such a huge why to matter.
Mm-hmm.
And that was his driving thing. He wanted to matter in an industry that he thought was tainted.
He also grew up with a sports background. His father was a coach and practice. He got taught from a young age the importance of practice. So he practiced what to say over and over and over and over and over until he says the plan the same way every single time without change, the same joke at the same spot with the same inflection, because he practiced it that way. And his sports background taught him that you play the game once a week, but you practice it 6 times and you're prepared for everything that comes up. So his whole, what he does on stage is because he's practiced it. And you get him one-on-one, or, you know, like we met with him backstage at the last convention, and it's something he doesn't practice on those little one-on-one conversations. He's not as confident or comfortable. I mean, obviously he's still brilliant, but it's just, he's a little bit awkward with it. But the good news is that gives everybody hope, because look what he's done. And the fact that you guys go, I can't believe he's a recluse. Well, that's because he's practiced so much that he can turn it on and become that persona, but in reality, he's not. He's just not. He'd rather be on his boat. He'd rather be, you know, playing with the grandkids. He's talked a lot about the fact that he is not a natural CEO, and that's not where his strength is. Because he was in this type of business his whole life, he's one of us, because that's what he is, and that's what he knows, and that's who he is. Brilliant guy. But
awkward.
Sometimes a little awkward.
Terry got on the elevator with him in Daytona last year at Regional, and it was just him and her on the elevator, and she was dumbfounded, and so she didn't say anything. I asked, well, did he speak to you? She said, no, I was really surprised he didn't say a word.
No, he was probably glad she didn't say anything either, because it's like...
And I'm surprised he was by himself, because there's usually somebody dragging him along to make him get there.
Yeah.
Oh, very good. Harry, did you attend anything this weekend?
No, I didn't. I was, I went to visit a family member, and so
Okay.
I think that came up kind of late, but
That's all right. No problem.
sounds like everybody had sounds like it was a good meeting.
I think there were lots of good meetings. Tracy, did you have anything else you wanted to add tonight real quickly?
Yeah, actually, it was, I believe Larry talking about not hunting. You're going out, you're actually fishing, and you're developing relationships and getting to know somebody and learning about them. rather than, you know, going out and, you know, shoving your business or your products on somebody. You know, finding out what they need and what, you know, can help them, and then you can go from there. But that was probably one of I took away a lot of stuff, actually.
Well, I will say this, Tracy, that's probably a very huge takeaway for you as a new person, because that is one area that most people end up not grasping right away and end up throwing up on people. So, and I'm sure as a flight attendant, you know what it's like to be thrown up on, so you don't want to do it to somebody else.
So true.
Oh, so Walter, it looks like you're up next because it looks like Lynn left you.
Lynn left on her walk.
She left on her walk. Were you on this weekend with her?
No, I was teaching.
Okay. Okay. So you don't have anything to share. Did she share anything with you that you'd like to share?
She had a lot of notes. That's all I saw. But 2 weeks ago, I had done the If I Would You. I had sent some OPC to a friend of mine who had been just balking at doing anything. She didn't even want to look at the site. So anyway, she's now trying it out and giving me her feedback at the end of this week. So we'll see.
Good job. Good job. You know what? It's just those reach outs and do it authentically.
Right.
So good job. Congratulations on taking it and trying it again.
Taking action.
Thank you.
So Brian, were you on anything this weekend? You're on mute.
Yeah, no, unfortunately, I wasn't. We were dealing with the same power outage that Paul and Denise had, but then I just got busy and with other things and forgot.
Okay, no problem. So all of you, there's obviously, and my last question of the night is, there's stuff coming up every week, obviously, and it's listed on Market America's Facebook page. It's in a lot of different places. Do you guys like that I send out a little bit each day of this is coming out, or is it too much on that not on the Facebook group, but in the text messaging? Is it helpful to get a little bit of something of a reminder of what's going on that day, or would you prefer that you don't get as many text messages?
I like it.
I personally prefer to get it because sometimes it's 5 o'clock till I have time to look at Facebook some days. You know,
And a lot of times on Facebook and things, it's hard to go back and find stuff.
exactly.
It's
Exactly.
like it was just right here. And then you're scrolling and scrolling. It's like, okay, maybe I didn't see it.
So,
Well, I often have it, just so you know, anytime one of those pops up, if I'm on early enough, I've gotten in the habit of saving the link, just saving the post so that I can just go in my saved file and look at them and I don't have to scroll through the whole page to find it. It helps you.
so I think some of those
I unsave them when it's done.
Well, I think some of those tutorials, and maybe next week we come back, I think some of those tutorials would be helpful because I don't think everybody knows how to do that. The same thing, Denise, I think like the tutorial of Trello. Denise found an incredible platform that she posted a video the other day. Thank you for doing that, to help people consolidate all of their contact list and track what you've said to somebody, what you've, sent to them already. And so if that's something that you want to learn about, I don't want to have to necessarily do it on the platform if not everybody wants to learn about it, if you want to continue. So we would love to hear from you. We always love to hear from you because this is not about us. We're on our own accountability call. This is about you and getting you where you want to go. So we need to hear from you as to whether this is helpful to you. Do you need to work more on stories? Do you need to work more on role playing? Do you need more advice in this area, that area, whatever? The more we hear from you, the better it's going to be. So please, please communicate with us after these types of calls and let us know so we can plan the next week as we move forward. So I know we are late and it's after 10 by far. So everybody have a great week and we will see you and hopefully hear from you soon.
Okay, thanks guys.
Happy 4th of July.
Bye.
Bye. Safe weekend.
You too.